Hello, it's Matt again. Just another friendly disclaimer that you will hear us call this podcast His and Her Gaming. This was recorded before we came upon the name Co-ople mode, so you're on the right podcast. Happy to see you here again, and hopefully you enjoy it. Hello, and welcome to His and Her Gaming, a couple's opinion on gaming. I'm your co-host, Matt.
And I'm Rose.
And welcome back. Seems you made it to episode 3. I promise I'll try to hold back on the likes like a 90s Beverly Hills girl, and we'll move forward with the show a little easier. So, I've been excited for this game, and I almost gave it away the night before, and I got chastised a little bit, but that's fair.
Yeah, it kind of would have ruined this whole beginning part to this episode if you had told me.
Well, we are going to make you play Tomb Raider.
Really?
Really.
This is a game that I've always wanted to play, but when I was a kid, we were a Nintendo family. Mm-hmm. Never got the chance to play Tomb Raider. It always looked so cool. My best friend in grade school loved Tomb Raider. Would always tell me all the cool stuff about it. I am kind of stoked to play this game.
Okay, so first things first, you're playing the 2013 reboot.
Okay.
Which, granted, is a very good reboot. Secondly, I just kind of want to get a feel, I haven't talked about this game in front of you. I haven't played this game in front of you. So I thought it would be kind of fun and just see what you think you know about the game. What kind of game do you think it is? Just anything you think might happen in this game.
I'm
frozen.
I'm
frozen
suddenly
solid.
so scared of sounding like a complete idiot.
No,
I don't want to talk.
It's
oh
okay.
no! Why did you do this to me?
I thought it would be a fun idea to kind of throw in there before I
think
about it.
Okay, like I said, I've had one friend that really liked these games. From what I gathered, it's kind of
a badass bee.
I always in my head, and maybe I'm completely wrong. In my head, I kind of relate it to a female James Bond, but you're not a spy, you're an archaeologist. So you're running through the wilderness trying to find specific things, but there's also I know at some points there's people you're fighting and trying to get away from, or trying to like a female Indiana Jones, I guess, is what I would think that it's like.
That's
but
what I was gonna say.
And
it's
I think
James Bond, Indiana Jones mixed female.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
a pretty
cool.
good explanation.
Okay,
I like
cool.
that. I like that. So,
which is probably why I always thought it sounded so awesome, because Indiana Jones was my favorite as a kid.
Love Indiana Jones. So I'll tell you about it. The one we're going to be playing came out in March 5th, 2013, and it was a full reboot of the Tomb Raider franchise. So they kind of start with this is her first first foray out into tomb raiding. I don't want to say tomb raiding, archaeology. Going out, trying to find something she's been studying and researching like a real archaeologist would, right? It's the first of a trio of games, but I really thought this time I'm going to start you with the first in the series instead of the third, like Hitman. I was being kind of mean.
Kind of mean or kind of nice. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
I mean, it worked really well, right? It was developed by Crystal Dynamics and published by Square Enix. This reboot was the first Tomb Raider published by Square Enix after they bought Eidos and Crystal and all, big companies buy lots of studios and gets them to make games for them. That's how it works nowadays. You might recognize some games that Crystal Dynamics had actually made other than Tomb Raider. They made Gex.
Oh, I love Gex 3.
Yeah, right? I was like, she'll
I used to rock
that.
that shit on the N64. That game was so stupid fun.
It was so corny.
I know, but it was so fun.
I did love it
all
back
the
in the
different
day.
levels had such personality to them. That was a really solid game.
It was a good 3D platformer.
I would totally sit down and play that shit right now.
How long you're gonna play it is a different story.
maybe a couple days.
Yeah, maybe.
That's a long time for me.
They also made, for all you less casual people out there, the Legacy of Kain and Soul Reaver games. And I just found out that they worked on the very recent Marvel Avengers game that came out. Also, a very good game. It was one of those that people thought, they saw the trailers, they're like, oh, it's going to be crappy. It's not based on the Marvel universe, that the cinematic universe, all the movies, because it's not. It's based on the comic books. And it's good. It's a good brawler. Don't worry, I ain't going to talk your ear off about Marvel anymore.
Audible eye roll.
She watched the Marvel Cinematic Universe to the first Avengers, and that was good enough for her.
And then I was done. That's enough. I don't need any more. Hey, I don't care.
That's good enough for me. I'm the nerd. I'm the super nerd in this family, and that's
not
okay.
about being a nerd. It's about... This is not an argument we want to get into. We will totally get off the rails.
All right, let's move on.
Yep, quickly.
This is actually the first Tomb Raider game to get a mature rating in the series, the franchise, completely. Okay. So it's a lot more grittier. It's darker. It can get kind of rough sometimes, but they're able to take it places that really elevate the character lore. Like, you can connect with her a little more as a character. It actually averages 86 out of 100 on Metacritic, which, if you remember, the Hitman games were also in the high 80s. So if you can get into those high 80s on Metacritic, you usually got a pretty dang good game on your hands. Sold over 1 million copies in the first 48 hours this game released.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that's pretty good. People were excited about this reboot. I remember hearing about it. People were just getting stoked, you know? In the United Kingdom, Tomb Raider debuted at #1 on their charts and became the biggest UK title launch in 2013 in March, and that was until Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. Which, also a very good game, understandably. No.
I mean, the world kind of paused for a year while everybody got that out of their system, didn't it?
Yeah. A year. People are still playing Grand Theft Auto 5, baby. So by the end of 2013, the year it was released, Tomb Raider was the 6th best-selling box game of the year. Which, I don't know. I mean, you've seen how many games can get released in a year and be in number 6? For the boxes, that's not even digital downloads. It's just the sixth
that's pretty
box. Good. And I mean, digital sales have gotten more popular nowadays, but as of October 2021, this game has sold more than 14.5 million copies. Wow. Yeah, they re-released a definitive edition like a couple years after the release, and it constantly gets sold. It goes on sale. It's probably not making as much per copy, but by this point, every sale they make on the game is going to be profit anyways, so still money in their pocket, right? So let's talk to you about my feelings on the game and try to get you excited to play it, which it's already a little unfair because you're excited by the name alone, but I'm going to try to upsell it a little bit. You start off as Lara Croft, and you're looking for this island called Yamatai, this old Japanese island that no one's found before. And apparently, over by Japan, they have something called the Devil's Triangle, which is a lot like the Bermuda Triangle. Lots of storms, very associated with mysticism and like mystical things happening. People get lost and their ships never get found. You know, same thing as the Bermuda Triangle, right? Yeah. Well, guess what happens? Your ship crashes on an island. That's how this game starts. But Laura is just an archaeologist girl. I mean, she's had some training with like a bow and arrow, and she has some survival skills taught to her, but she's never been thrust into a situation like this before. So to start out, you are kind of experience Laura before she becomes this tough as nails
Tomb Raider,
right? Before Indiana Jones, right? When he's a kid, he's learning.
She just sounds so cool. Like everything I wanted to be when I grew up.
There are a lot of fun things. It starts off slow. You don't have to worry too much about getting killed right away. Like the first thing you do is you go hunting. to try to find some food for yourself. Because you're on this rainy island, you're suffering, and you're just trying to get some comfort so you can move forward. The game plays a little similarly to Hitman in a way. It's third person. Have a very good sense of your surroundings, and there's a fun little upgrade system. So as you kill animals or find loot boxes, I guess is the best way to put it, you get scrap that you can use to upgrade your gear. You get experience that you can use to give yourself new abilities. For example, you have a survival sense that you can upgrade and make better. You can see animals when you use it, or you can find hidden objects that you wouldn't be able to find as easily. So there's a nice upgrade system to kind of keep you coming back, keep you looking for that loot, looking for that item so you can level up, get better, get stronger, find more stuff. And a lot of things are story gated. You'll find them as you go through the story, so don't feel like you have to find everything, because you don't. But I enjoyed... There's journals you can find. I enjoy finding the journals and hearing all the different people who wrote them. You get more like lore about the island, which I enjoyed quite a bit. And I think you probably will too. I feel that you will enjoy exploring the island. And since you're playing at night, it's going to be a lot easier to see. Our living room is a little bright, so it gets hard to see in the dark areas. But at night, you're not going to have to worry about that, so you're going to be golden. And the island is fun to check out, the nooks and crannies and all the architecture they have around and statues and stuff. Of course, there's tombs to raid, and you definitely want to raid the tombs. I'm just going to say that right now. Raid tombs.
I feel like that's pretty obvious.
It should be,
Doesn't need to be said.
Some people are like, I'm just going to come back to this later and forget about it. Definitely raid tombs. It's good for you. You heard it here first. Tomb raiding is good for you. I just want to look forward to seeing you play and see how you experience it. The only thing is, when this game came out, there was something called QuickTime events, which were used very often. Do you know what a QuickTime event is? Do you vaguely remember?
That phrase sounds familiar, but I couldn't tell you what it is.
Yeah, most games took them out because people got sick of them.
For some weird reason, it gives me an icky feeling, and I don't know why. I don't remember what it is, but it makes me feel a little icky.
Basically, you get a cutscene, and while you're watching the cutscene, it'll be a button will come up.
Oh god, I hate those so much. I'm so bad at those. Yeah. I'm so terrible at those. If you want me to freak out and be like, oh god, what am I doing? Drop the controller, knock over a candle, burn down the house, shoot off a gun into the ether, like everything wrong. Well, I don't have the reaction skills to do that stuff well. Even in Hitman, I would have trouble, like, I'd sneak up behind somebody and choke them out, forget which button chokes them out quietly and be like, what do I press? Yeah. Like, it's just, I'm not good at, like, quick button
quick
pushing.
Time events, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to say it. I'm not good at quick time events.
My personal view on it now is, hey, if there's only one way this can go, if I press the buttons right, then just let me watch the video, like let me watch the cutscene, right? This Tomb Raider is good about starting you soon enough near the QuickTime event where you're going to be ready for it right away if you make a mistake the first time. So it's not like it starts you way back at the beginning of the level or anything. It starts you like right before the QuickTime events happens.
So if you fail it, you got to do it again?
Yes. Because usually when you fail it,
you
die.
Get good, son.
Get good, scrub. So that didn't age well. I wanted to give you a warning beforehand because I forgot about it. And I like died immediately. And I felt bad about it. And then I remembered why they don't do that anymore. Because games usually don't do QuickTime events very often.
Well, honestly, I think that's a little bit odd. You get so many people who are really, really good at video games now. You would think, like, with all these professional gamers that there are, QuickTime events wouldn't be that hated. I mean, there's so many people that have absolutely great reaction skills and are like,
oh yeah,
they're awesome at it. I'm kind of surprised they don't do it. It's just noobs like me that have trouble with it.
The whole problem is if it's in a cutscene and it only goes one way, why even have it in there?
Yeah,
just so I can lose
true.
and I waste time. That's the annoying thing.
Oh boy, everybody, this is going to take a long time.
And then the only other thing I'll say is, for me personally, it starts out a little bit slow, but it picks up pretty quickly. It does. And it might just be me.
No, I think if you're saying that, it's probably absolutely excruciatingly slow. That's what I'm scared of now.
I definitely don't feel like it was excruciating.
You're a lot more patient than I am.
But once you get past that beginning little hump, it gets really good. And this game hooked me. It hooked me again. And I'm going to play it until I beat it. I'm excited to beat this game. I'm close to the end right now. I'm ready to do it. I think I've said most of what my opinion is. I worded that terrible. I'm sorry for that assault on your ears. So, I want to get your rating. How excited are you to play this game?
This is a game that I've always wanted to play, and I'm not really sure why I haven't, because it always looked cool to me. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm going to say I'm like 8 out of 10. Pretty stoked to try this out.
Just on the name alone, probably 7 out of 10.
I was pretty excited when you said Tomb Raider. I was pretty stoked.
Trust me,
that.
You don't want to play the original on the PlayStation. The controls are horrid by today's standards.
Well, I can't, PlayStation for me is super, super hard. Like I said, I was a Nintendo girl growing up. Like, I can do Xbox pretty dang well, but when it comes to a PlayStation, I am just all messed up, and I don't do well on that. But I think the only thing not making it a 10 out of 10 is I am a little bit afraid that I will be let down a little bit. Like, maybe it's not as cool as I imagined in my head. And that might not be true, but that's why I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I am hoping I won't be let down and that it's as cool as I always thought it was.
A fair assessment. I'm excited for you to play it.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Why are we still talking about it? Let's get out of here and let you enjoy it. We'll see you guys in just a little bit. Welcome back. We've had some time to experience this game, and let's hear it.
I was pretty excited to play this,
mm-hmm.
and I got started, and the beginning is super slow.
Yes, I kind of half warned you about it.
You did, but it still surprised me at how super slow it was.
Yeah, it didn't. I would. How do I put it?
It's a lot of story.
Yeah, and sometimes starting games with exposition is good because it can be a way to catch you up, but it really feels like the beginning is just a long cutscene, and even though they let you play in the middle of it, it doesn't really feel like playing because you're forced through this super linear area. Super linear story, super linear everything. And that part, like I said, that's probably why I bounced off it the first time I played it, mm-hmm. if I'm being completely honest. And this time I took the time to let myself get past that to a little more of the core gameplay later on that I enjoyed more. But I understand. that.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of person that likes a lot of backstory and everything. And you've made the point before, like, you want a lot of lore in a game? Don't put hardly anything in. People will try to find it. This is just... This game, the way I feel about this game is that it gives you a false feeling of control the whole time you play it. It feels like it's pushing you through the story, and every once in a while you get to occasionally press the X or Y button, and that's almost it. You were telling me you think I made it about halfway through the game.
That's my feeling. I haven't beat it yet. So, you were very nice and got me Elden Ring. And so I haven't exactly been putting more time into Tomb Raider right now.
Who can blame you?
Yeah.
Elden Ring, just by watching it, looks a lot more exciting than this game.
Yeah.
This game didn't have a lot of excitement for me. It seemed, there's like jump scares in it, like it's a bad horror movie. There's, you're on this island, and it's a decent sized island. Like when I checked the map, I was a little excited about the size of it. I thought this is going to be a longer game. But the way it plays is that as you move through what you're doing, which is basically constantly finding people that are your friends that keep wandering off or getting hurt or getting kidnapped by, for some reason, Russians on this Japanese island. I don't know. Like the story itself was just kind of wild and crazy and didn't make a lot of sense. And I'm sure it would make more sense if I kept playing. Yeah. But I just don't feel the drive to care to find out. Yeah. This game did not make me care.
I will say there is a bit of dissonance, because I told you after the first day you made it about to the point where it really starts to open up and you can kind of explore. But the problem is the story forces this sense of urgency on you. It's like, hey, you gotta radio in an SOS. You gotta go save this person. You gotta go get medicine for this person. You gotta do it.
There's constantly somebody that needs help somewhere, and for some reason, Lara Croft is the only person at the time that can save them.
Yeah.
She's constantly getting shot at, kidnapped, hung upside down. That's the other wild thing. This game wasn't exciting and very much fun because the same thing happens to you over and over again. You get kidnapped like multiple times and hung upside down with a bunch of other dead bodies hanging down, and like you have to escape the same way. By the third or fourth time that I was sliding down a hill or a tunnel, I looked over at Matt and I was like, I've done this so many times and I'm maybe halfway. This is just boring now. The biggest thing that I didn't like was just the actual controls in the gameplay. This game tries so hard to be seamless, and I appreciate that because there's a lot of games that achieve that and they're awesome and people love it. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to wait for loading screens constantly every 20 seconds. But just getting things accomplished, the things that you're trying to do, the game will have you moving forward and it'll grab your character and start controlling you and moving you and then suddenly stop, but you don't know that it's going to stop. So an example is you're trying to climb up a hill and all of a sudden it's moving Lara Croft for you. So you're like, okay. And you're sitting there holding the controller watching this happen. And all of a sudden she stops because the game wants you to pick it back up and push the story forward. Most of the time for about 5 seconds before it grabs her again to show you the next scene of another explosion happening. It's trying to be seamless, but the sad part is it actually takes you out of the game constantly.
I think when this game first came out,
that
was
flow.
A really cool idea because there was usually a lot more jarring cut between a cutscene and the gameplay.
Yeah.
And this was, as I can remember, one of the first ones that really made that cutscene to gameplay as seamless as possible. But when they keep taking control away from you in the middle of moments and then giving it back to you, it's hard as a player because all of a sudden you're just standing there for a minute. And like, and this is one of those other things where I've just had a lot of experience. I played a lot of games. Like I know this is the moment I get to play again. The camera pan to that perfect moment. Like
this one doesn't seem to do that though.
There's a few times like when you're like,
you'll be entering a cave.
Yeah.
And it'll grab your character and Laura's walking along through the entrance of this cave and visually nothing will change. Mm-hmm. The camera does not change angle or zoom in and out. And all of a sudden you are standing there like you said.
Yep.
So you don't know. It takes you a few seconds to realize, oh, I have to do something now. And most of the time there's no reason for it. Like nothing happened that was important that you needed to see, that it needed to show you. Mm-hmm. That kind of drove me wild too. The whole time you're walking around, Lara Croft is looking this way and that way, left and right. And I'm used to games where, hey, I guess I'm going to say I'm used to playing Legend of Zelda, where if Link is looking in a certain direction, you better go check that out. There's probably something important over there. It kind of...
Yeah.
I had to keep reminding myself, no, she's just doing whatever. Also, the constant dialogue that she has to herself, I'm not a fan of. It was so pointless, and it was just annoying to me. But I think overall...
You didn't get invested in the characters at all.
No, I really didn't. I don't know why, because I thought I would. I thought I would really think... I was so excited to play Lara Croft. I thought I would really love it, and I just didn't. I think it was just the gameplay. It really was boring to me. You constantly chase people down. Mm-hmm. Also, if you have a problem and you're in an area and you don't know what to do, just light it on fire. That seems to be the answer to everything in this game.
Yeah, in the beginning, it's a lot of lighting things on fire.
Pretty much the whole way through. It was pretty consistent. Light it on fire.
Which,
if you're blocked, light it on fire or shoot it with a gun.
Which brings up a good moment that you brought up, and I kind of realized it watching you play. There's salvage you collect to upgrade your weapons and such, right? Typical gameplay stuff. But you find boxes on the ground that you break, or you loot bad guys that you kill. But there's also boxes that are in like these cargo net bags all over the place, and you have to stop, take the time, light the bag on fire so it drops the box that you can break open. And I kind of realized in that moment, it felt like it was artificially prolonging the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with a collectathon. I love running around collecting the artifacts. I love collecting the journals. I love learning all that little stuff. Like, that's years and years of games of I have to 100% every area.
There are some games that I enjoy doing that, but this game, I didn't get hooked on that.
Yep.
The journals, there's so many different... there's journals from a lot of different people. And
a lot of different time periods.
Yep. And you have to find all of them for each one. So whatever you come across and find, it's not in a what do you call it? Linear order.
No, not necessarily.
Which is fine, but I mean, you're jumping around to so many different people and time periods that it just is... And usually you find them at the worst time when there's like 4 or 5 guys shooting at you and you're trying to run away. Every
There's
time
explosions happening. The place is burning down. Ooh, I found a journal. Let's read this real quick.
Yeah, and I just didn't want to be pulled out of what I was doing to take the time to read that. The artifacts were also just sort of...
They were okay.
I mean, it was a little bit interesting to look at, but it wasn't that exciting. She looks at it, and as soon as you rotate it a little bit, she finds the semi-secret that they said, if you look at it closer, you'll find out a secret.
You'll find out more.
She finds it instantly, and it just is so quick, and this game felt like it had a lot of potential, and I think that's what kept driving me crazy. There were so many things I kept noticing that could have been done in a much better way to make this a really awesome game. And I think that's why I just feel disappointed in it.
Okay, so we could say pretty confidently the story didn't quite get you.
Mm-hmm.
The exploration and finding stuff didn't quite get you. So I want to ask about the combat, because when I watched you play it, that seemed to be when you enjoyed it the most. Because I know for me, that was really when I enjoyed it a lot myself, especially where I'm at in the game, because the fights are a lot more intense. They're a little bigger. There's still explosives around, so you can still burn things. Just people this time.
The combat was my favorite part. And as you go along, you learn new moves, and you can upgrade your weapons. I did like that part as well.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that you can find parts to upgrade your weapons. And I did like that your combat gets better and better.
Yeah.
I like how she finally starts to get angry enough where she's kicking dudes in the face when she knocks them down.
Yeah.
I do appreciate, like, that was my favorite part of this game probably, which is funny because it's not really what I thought Tomb Raider was about. It's more about, and I found 2 tombs and they had these simple little puzzles that I just found mostly annoying. And a waste of my time at that point because I was thinking, I need to go save this injured pilot. I need to go save my injured friend Roth, whose leg got bitten by a giant wolf. Oh, I need to chase down the wolves that stole his pack. I don't know why wolves stole his backpack, but okay. It's just, the game really felt like it was just pushing me forward.
Yep.
And it didn't feel like there was room to explore and take the time to look around and actually enjoy it. Because the game looks pretty beautiful.
Yeah, for how old
the
it is.
The island is gorgeous. Yeah, and it seems like there could be a lot more secrets than what it always seemed like I found.
Yes, definitely there is.
Every area seemed really quickly gone through for me.
Yeah.
And it's probably because as you go along, you upgrade your skills and you can get into more things, right?
Yeah, I think at the end of your playthrough, you found the shotgun.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, the last big barrier item that prevents you from getting stuff.
I don't feel like that's stopping me in a lot of places, though.
No, it's very Metroidvania, and that's where they lock areas off by abilities. And generally, when you travel back to old areas you've been, it just blocks access to a room or a tomb or something of the sort.
Mm-hmm.
But because the story always gives you this huge sense of urgency, you gotta go forward, you never felt comfortable taking a minute to go and explore. And me, I knew that the game did this, and I just went, nope, I'm sorry, Roth. I'm busy looking for artifacts. I'm sorry, pilot. I gotta go back to the first area because I just got the rope arrow. I can get a new item. F you. It's your fault for getting shot down by lightning. Like,
oh, that is nobody's fault. That part was wild, by the way. Oh, this airplane's gonna rescue us, and everything looks like it's gonna, like, Lara Croft worked really, really hard to get communication to this plane. They're literally coming in, and a storm comes out of the blue in a sunny sky and shoots the plane down. That actually made me feel bad in the game. I was like, geez, that's rough.
One of the things you learn if you read all the journals is that the Himiko, the queen that that you learned about in ancient Japanese history, is the Sun Queen, and she has apparently the power to control the weather. Mm-hmm. And that's what made her such a powerful leader, because people were afraid of her. So you learn reading all these journals that people that come to this island don't get off this island.
Oh, it's written everywhere in the game.
Yeah.
Nobody leaves. Nobody ever leaves.
Nobody leaves.
It literally, there was a voiceover at the moment of the plane crashing saying, no one leaves.
Yeah,
I mean, that was obvious to me,
yeah.
But yeah,
it's okay.
I don't know. It just it's this constant feeling of, wow, so much potential for something way cooler than what I got here.
I will say this. I am enjoying playing it where I am. I am enjoying the fact that I took the time to get through it. I don't think that it aged as well as some other games. Mm-hmm. And part of that is like quick time events, how they went about jumping between the cutscenes and the cinematic stuff. Also, I know that they use the, hey, let's make Laura walk slow for about a minute so we can do load times, is a good feature, but it's really hard to deal with now when you can't do anything.
Well, I will say I complained about that. Like, when you enter a new area, she will suddenly start walking slower, and I didn't understand why, but when you explain that it's a loading feature to keep the game moving, I actually really appreciate that. And then I didn't feel annoyed by it anymore once I knew that. Yeah. Because they are trying to make it seamless. I think there was a lot of good intention in a lot of things. Yes. It felt like it all just fell kind of short, oddly, for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if And it's wild. I didn't think I would be such a hard ass about things. You know, the last two games you had me play, I came out with a 9 and a 10.
Yeah,
and
I gave you some good start.
Yeah, games. You know, and I had actually thought, oh no, like, I have to not just love everything. What if I just feel like everything I play is a 9 out of 10? I'm kind of glad that I didn't love this game.
Yeah.
I feel pretty indifferent towards it, honestly.
That's fair.
But I can think of all these things that would have made this better. For example, when you get the bow in the beginning and it's telling you to kill a deer because you're hungry and you need something to eat. I got pretty excited about that. Got a deer, cooked the meat, and it totally skips over that in a rushed way of that. And then I kept playing and I finally asked you, hey, when do I know that I need to eat again? And you're like, you don't. You don't need to kill animals. So I said, well, why are there there's rats and bunnies and birds and chickens and deer and wolves? And you said, yeah, just experience and scrap. And it just seems so silly to me.
Yep.
There's plants that you pick up for 10 experience. I'm sorry. Yeah. Why do you have those there? That is the biggest waste of all of our time.
Yeah, it is kind of lame.
So if you want that there because it's a good feature, make it important. Make it useful.
Yeah.
Make it so that Lara Croft is picking plants that she knows she can use for certain things. Make it so that she does have to eat once in a while, even if it's once a day. There's so many things that you could do to make this game a lot more rounded.
Yeah.
A lot more rounded. The tomb raiding, the artifacts were just not in depth.
And I do want to say,
you could have packed a history lesson in this game.
I haven't played the other two games in the trilogy, and I do know that they made improvements. I believe the second one is the most generally well-received.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've read about the third one is more of it's just a refinement and perfection of the formula, as not as much as introducing new things. I do think that this game has introduced and done a lot of things good, but there are things that since that time games have improved on. They've done better, or they've taken those things and learned how to make them work for themselves and make the game more enjoyable. I feel like in a lot of ways this reboot was really how do I put it? This reboot was super well done when it came out, and it was a good place for people to pick up good ideas to make their games better. And that's kind of how games are sometimes.
Maybe, but it doesn't... There's a dissonance there for me because playing Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64 is more complicated than what this game is. That was the other thing. This game
could be argued.
This game is easy. At least in Ocarina of Time, there's a lot you can do. What you can actually do in this game is pretty minimal.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't want to argue it too much because there's a certain extent when you go back and you play Ocarina of Time now, it's still fun, but there is a lot of that nostalgia factor in it too. And I think you forget how much is that I enjoyed this so much as a kid, and these are things I love about it, that it gives it a glow up. Because if you go and play the original 64, it's still good. Don't get me wrong. Ocarina of Time is a great game. I love it. But there are certain things that just don't feel as smooth or as fluid. Like, the combat is good.
You can do more in Minecraft.
Well, yeah, you can do a billion things in Minecraft. People build computers in Minecraft. People literally...
That was not a good example. Cut that. Cut that out.
That was a horrible example.
It was. Cut that out. I just...
Well, is there anything... Okay. Well, we're talking around in circles at this point. Is there any, I'm pretty sure you're not going to play this game again, so I'm not going to ask you if you think you'll
I have
play it
no
again.
desire to ever load this game up. The last time I played it just to try to get further so that I felt like I was giving it a really fair chance. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to. And I was excited to play. I wanted to play it. But after this, I knew the first part, I found out that I don't like starting new games because it's usually pretty boring. You gotta get through it, right? But after Inscription, that was a good lesson of you gotta give it the first time you play. You cannot go off of that. You gotta play it at least 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Yep.
this game my feelings never changed the more I played it. It did not grab me. That's all.
I will say...
I feel bad about that because I know for a fact that some people absolutely love these games, and it makes me curious if playing the older ones, the original ones, were better. You say they're pretty similar, and that's kind of wild to me because I feel like I don't get it, and I should.
Triangle, polygon boobs, and dual-wielding magnums.
I don't know why I don't get it. It kind of makes me feel bad.
I think just for funsies, I'm gonna load up some original Tomb Raider for you sometime, just so you can kind of experience it. But getting back to the slow start, the pacing and starting of games is stuff that game developers still have problems with today. Because if you give them too much too soon, then you can't get them to go through to the end game. But if you don't give them enough, you can't hook people to go through to the end game. Because there's games I played, they are the funnest when you get to the last half. But why do I am a 30-some-year-old man with a child and a family. I don't have time to throw 10 hours into a boring part of a game.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. That might be part of it.
But if you give me everything right away, there's nothing to upgrade to or look forward to getting at the same time.
Like I said, I did appreciate that her combat skills were getting better. I like that you upgrade your weapons as you go, and you do get skill points, and I did like that too.
The only thing I think you should have gotten for free was melee attacks with the Y. I hate that I had to spend a skill point to be able to whack people. That's the only one. Everything else, I'm good with.
Yeah, I guess there was just small things that I liked about it or could appreciate, but overall it was... I mean, if I want to go smack some people around, I'll just play Call of Duty. I'm totally happy with that.
Yeah. Go kill some zombies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Matt was impressed by all my headshots, by the way.
Yes, you got a lot of headshots. I watch you just freaking dome fools with a bow and arrow, and I appreciate that.
I was like, well, this is just too easy, though.
Yeah, Call of Duty is a little faster paced. It's harder to do.
Oh, yeah.
Well, all right. Any last lingering things you feel like you got to say, or any feelings about the game you felt were important to impart?
I don't think so. I think I got everything out there. I think I had some reasonably good ideas about how it could be a cool game.
Yeah. It definitely could get improved. And it probably did in later iterations. But like I said, if they don't catch you in the beginning, you're probably not going to pick it up afterwards, right? Even in game trilogies. If the first one's not good enough, it's real hard to get people to come in on the second one.
Oh, yeah. Why would you?
Yeah, exactly. What would you give it for a rating out of 10?
5 out of 10.
Meh. Middle of the road.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Meh. I don't hate it. I don't think it's the worst game ever made.
No.
I'd feel indifferent towards it. Don't care to ever play it again. Don't understand why some people absolutely love it the way they do. You did tell me, as you go along later in the game, she becomes kind of a death god on this island.
Yeah, she does become a literal death goddess.
That sounds cool. That almost motivates me to play a little bit, but getting there and getting through all the boring parts to get to that point, it doesn't feel worth it to me.
And I get that.
I would rather play Pokemon.
Yeah.
I seriously, would rather just go play Sword and Shield again right now. Yeah. I've leveled everything to a level 100. Hey, let's just go mess with that for a while instead of playing Tomb Raider. That's how I feel about it. I'd rather go do something I've done 1,000 times.
Well, that's the whole point. The whole point is you give me your honest opinion. I still say I give it a 7 out of 10. I do acknowledge that there are some pacing problems and there are some things that prolong the gameplay for no good reason. And watching you play it really helped me see that a little better. But I still enjoyed the experience. And part of that is I think I'm just accepting it for what it is. I'm not expecting it to be an A-grade action movie. I'm expecting it to be kind of campy, kind of fun, kind of silly, and not
I didn't expect it to be an action movie.
No, but
I just thought there would be a lot more to it.
I think you were expecting a little more of a survival type game, which honestly makes me think I need to put one of those in my list.
You don't have one?
I don't have one.
I love survival type games.
Well...
Oh, no, maybe I don't.
I don't know.
I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Because you play all kinds of games.
Everything, yeah.
You play things that are really complicated
Yes.
and, like, hard to play.
Yeah.
When you play this game, Tomb Raider, don't you get kind of bored with it?
It's more of that I can play it without thinking too hard.
Oh, yeah, okay. See, that proves my point right there.
I can just kind of enjoy it
see that that's
for what it is.
Enjoyable for, when you're just kind of mellow and don't want to think.
Yeah, it's fun.
Sure.
Popping headshots, freaking blowing people up, finding cool little artifacts, getting tiny little tidbits. And, like, I don't know why, but this time, like, I wanted to collect everything. I just did. And that's what I've been doing. 100% each area as I go through it, if I can. And I don't know, it's just been kind of fun. And I really hope that I do come back and finish it, because I want to beat it. But like I said, I have Elden Ring right now, and that's all I want to play. And I'm only going to play that and whatever game I'm making you play next. Like that's kind of my plan right now.
So you really helped me feel better about my rating.
Yeah.
5 out of 10. Play it when you don't want to think. That sounds like a 5 out of 10 kind of game to me.
Yeah, I like I said, I don't think it aged as well. And like I said, the Metacritic 80, was it mid 80s if I remember right? It's from when the game came out. So a lot of times, game reviewers don't go back, I'm going to review this game a decade later. That doesn't happen very often. Cuz a lot of times games don't age very well, but you get some classics like the old Marios and stuff that just still hold up. Like it all depends on the type of game. So don't feel bad.
I guess I don't know of a game that's old that I feel like didn't age well or that I don't still like to play once in a while.
Well, yeah, we still bust out the old regular Nintendo and play Super Mario 3, so...
'Cause I'm lucky like
and,
that.
was it Tom Sawyer?
Yeah.
That's a wild game in
I
itself.
know, it's so fun. See, that's the thing. It's kind of odd. I don't know. I guess, like you said, it's kind of a little time capsule of the time. Because I do see where a lot of games now do things that this game tried to do.
Yeah, this game did a lot of things very well at first, and people have honed it down. And that's the gaming industry in general.
Sure.
Everybody that's why everything has RPG elements in it, because everybody wants to level up. It's a great way to be like, yeah, I'm getting somewhere, everyone wants to upgrade, like the Beyonce. So, well, all right, I think we're going to wrap it up. So, to end it up, I'm Matt.
And I'm Rose.
This has been His and Her Gaming. You keep gaming with your bestie. Ta-ta!